guys, welcome to another recap of Celebrity Apprentice. So if you're on Aubrey's team, nobody's liking their chances right now. Aubrey thinks that Arsenio is shifty and Teresa is and Arsenio thinks that Aubrey is scary and Teresa's and Teresa's just happy to be there. Alright, so Lisa gets to deliver her check, and usually this is the part of the show where I'm like, this is so great. But it was great that she got to deliver the check, but it just seemed like when she was sitting there at the table with the people, it was a little awkward. I don't know why. They were probably thinking like, you're on Celebrity Apprentice? Alright, so Donald's apartment. Oh, whoa. Who opened up Fort Knox? It was crazy up in there. Alright, so he announces that his tie is the #1 seller in the tie world. Great. So now he's got some stink water that he's trying to push, and it's called Success. And obviously, it smells like Donald. Whatever that smells like. Success. So the task this week is to create an in-store display and a slogan. But the thing that I'm most excited about is that freaking George is back. He's always been my favorite on the show. Always. So, PMs this week? Why, it's going to be Clay Aiken and Aubrey O'Day. Well, the winner's going to get 20,000, says Trump. But if I effing love it, you're going to get 100,000. Well, on Team Forte, Penn wanted a man and a woman in the ad. And he wanted that woman to be Diana. Well, she wanted to be that woman too. But she wanted to be that woman naked. And I have to agree with her. I think Trump would have really liked that. But they shot it down. And Penn came up with the slogan, "You earned it," which I really liked. I thought that was an awesome slogan. And Clay was all like, oh, I have to use Penn's idea because he badgers me, or he badgers the PM all the time because he's a pitch man. Whatever. I thought the slogan was fantastic. Then they had a little photo shoot with Diana in which Lisa wasn't so much of a bitch. You know what? She's not stupid. If she thinks something's going to work, she's not going to piss in your salad. Especially if it's her team. So just to make herself feel a little bit better, she goes and spies on the other team and she reports back. They pretty much came up with the same concept. Exactly the same, yet completely different. Alright, so Team Unanimous. Arsenio defines success as making the guap, and I have to agree with him. I think that's what success in America is all about. Status, money. But Aubrey thinks it's happiness and puppy dogs. No, I'm sorry. She came up, so she says, with the slogan, "Trust your instincts," which just happens to be a direct quote from Donald Trump. Now, Aubrey may be a pig, but she's not stupid. I'm sure that when she found out that she was going to be on Celebrity Apprentice, she went to Google and said, Trump, what does he believe? And came up and did her research, because she's not dumb, and found that, and it was in the back of her mind, and she pulled it out of her little vest pocket and used it for the display. And Arsenio's all like, oh, look at this. This is exactly what Trump said. We should definitely use this. This is a sign that you've done your research. Come on. You know it's true. Alright, so then she also came up with using Eric as a model for the display. But instead of taking an actual photo of him, they used a silhouette of him that looked like some kindergartner had cut it out. It was just so juvenile and weird, and I don't know what it was doing there. But it was supposed to be a young Trump looking at the skyline. Thought that was stupid. Alright, so then Aubrey proceeds to put her vagina on the back of Arsenio's neck. Of course, there was a layer or 3 of Spanx in between. She did not consume enough Crystal Light from a few challenges back. She needs to look her best in those outfits. She needs the Tyra Spanx. Alright, so Aubrey sends Arsenio and Teresa out to do some errands because she can't think with people who don't know what they're doing breathing down her neck. And Eric just happens to show up, and she tells him, I can't work with them. They're stupid. It's all me, baby. I came up with all of this. So it's time for the presentations, but just before, best line of the show, Teresa says, I feel the wind. To which Aubrey replies, yeah, it's cold in here, right? Then the sign falls down, the success sign. So team unanimous, yeah, George ends up shooting them down before the presentation even starts. I'm gonna have to agree, I absolutely hated pretty much everything they did except the tester strips and the little brochure. Then Aubrey gave this horrible presentation where she was joking with the executives and said Arsenio was a man the last time she checked. When did she do a penis investigation? It's news to him. And then, we're not going to tell you what success is, it's whatever you think it is. Right there I thought, oh, she lost. And then Team Forte, they had a little unpainted spot on their display, but it didn't matter because Clay gave a very short presentation and opened up the floor to questions, and they were like, oh no, we don't have any, go on with your presentation. And he was like, He was not very well prepared. It was just like he made this display and he expected everything to handle itself. Weird. Alright, so tough decision here. Both of them pretty much sucked. But the executives liked parts of each, so they wanted to Frankenstein it together and make a kick-ass display. Boardroom time. Team Forte. It was a love fest. Everyone was great, unless we lost. Team Unanimous. Aubrey said, we all did the work. But Eric ends up calling out Aubrey for saying that she did everything. And she backpedaled a little bit and was like, oh, well, that was at the beginning of the task, Eric, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm super smart anyway, aren't I? So then she got into this big discussion with Arsenio about who came up with trust your instincts. Obviously, neither of them did. It was Donald. So the executives hated You Earned It, which is so weird because I freaking loved it. I think, you know, yeah, you've earned it. You're going to go out and buy this cologne because, yeah, treat yourself. You earned it. But the executives were also super glad that they didn't use Lisa as well as Trump was in the ad, because I don't think that would have sold his stank water. They don't want to look at Lisa Lampanelli's head on somebody's chest. They want to look at Diana's. The executives love Trust Your Instincts, which I didn't think had anything to do with the cologne. How is that having anything to do with the cologne? I don't get it at all. I did like the tester strips, as well as the executives like that, but their display was horrible. It was actually horrible. I'm sorry. Bentley grill in the front, or Rolls-Royce grill. Yeah, that didn't look like a building. Who came up with that? Alright, so Trump didn't like either of them. Well, he liked them. He didn't love it. So he's going to switch things up a little bit. Because he's freaking Trump, it's his show, he can do whatever he wants. He's giving $40,000 to the winner and everybody else gets $10,000 for their charity. So Aubrey won. I can't believe they picked Aubrey to win. I thought for sure You Earned It was going to win. So, Diana, we find out, had the idea to come up with a takeaway. But Clay, he don't speak her language. He don't listen to it. And he don't always know what Diana be saying. So Clay ends up bringing back Penn and Diana. Penn because he came up with the slogan the executives hate. Ed. And Diana because she's aloof and she wouldn't be good for the team going forward. Lisa would be better. So after Clay announces that he actually has bigger balls than Penn, Trump is all like, well, I really want to fire Diana, but I can't because she was really great. She's always contributing, and there's no reason she should have been in the boardroom all those times. I think the women are actually jealous. Then he wants to fire Clay, but he can't because he's got such pretty eyes. He just can't do it. And then he ends up firing Penn because he's the last one left. And yes, he did come up with the slogan, which was fantastic, but you fired. So, next time, oh boy, Diana looks like she's going to be in the boardroom again. Can she survive? Till next time, much love.